DisCrit, or Disability Critical Race Theory, is a framework that merges disability studies and critical race theory to examine how racism and ableism intersect to marginalize disabled people of color in schools, laws, and society. In the U.S. and globally, people of color and disabled individuals face higher rates of poverty, limited access to healthcare, education, and employment, overrepresentation in policing, incarceration, and institutionalization. These disparities are not accidental. They are built into policies, institutions, and everyday practices. And yet, there is very minimal research and conversation exploring the intersection of race and disability. The truth is, movements for racial justice and disability justice are stronger together. There is a critical need to expand the knowledge of how disability and race intersect, and how it impacts people in everyday life. That's why we need DisCrit. This theory goes beyond just naming injustice. It gives us the tools to challenge it by spotlighting the systems that most people overlook. As DisCrit's founders, David Conner, Beth Ferry, and Subin Anama explain, racism and ableism are mutually constitutive and collusive, meaning they actively shape and reinforce one another in sustaining systems of injustice. So how exactly do these forces intersect? Let's take a closer look at DisCrit's 7 core tenets. Each one offers insight into how injustice operates and how we can begin to challenge and transform it. Tenet number 1. Normative logics. Racism and ableism work together to define and enforce the social idea of normalcy. These systems uphold white-centered norms, devaluing those who differ. In slavery, race and perceived disability shaped Black people's economic worth and justified their exploitation. Tenet 2. Intersectional identities. It is important to recognize multidimensional identities rather than viewing race, disability, gender, or class in isolation. DisCrit exposes how disability intersects with other historically marginalized identities that render people with disabilities more vulnerable to discrimination. Tenet number 3, on challenging logic, states that race and disability are not simply biological facts. Rather, socially constructed responses to perceived differences from societal norms. This shift means we stop asking, "What's wrong with you?" and start asking, "What's wrong with the world that excludes you?" Tenet number 4 centers the voices of marginalized communities, challenging legal norms that silence or distort their experiences. This tenet critiques ableist legal norms and calls for client-centered advocacy that resists stereotypes and systemic erasure. Tenet number 5 contextually examines how race and disability have historically and legally intersected to justify state control and deny rights, particularly through eugenics, forced sterilization, and institutionalization. A DisCrit lens reveals how these legacies continue today in policies that criminalize poverty, restrict reproductive rights, and target disabled people of color, especially women, through racialized and ableist narratives. Tenet number 6 argues that legal systems have privileged those deemed normal, while systematically denying full personhood to disabled individuals of color. This tenet indicates how whiteness operates as property, denying rights based on race and disability, especially relevant in the context of immigration. Tenet number 7 emphasizes the importance of activism and community-led resistance, particularly by disabled people of color. It aligns with disability justice, which challenges ableism as deeply intertwined with white supremacy, colonialism, capitalism, and heteropatriarchy. Understanding the tenets of DisCrit empowers us to critically examine the structures of our society in the pursuit of justice for all. As disability rights advocate Dessa Cosma reminds us, you can't have racial justice or economic justice or gender justice without disability justice. To deepen your understanding, explore DisCrit and DisCrit Expanded by Subin Anama, Beth Ferry, and David Conner. Stay connected with the Center for Racial and Disability Justice to follow our ongoing efforts in advancing disability justice.